And so it happened. Mighty King Solomon, who was about as wise as any man had the right to be, did what seemed to be a very foolish thing. He hid away his greatest treasure. He hid it so well and so deep that all the archaeologists, with all their shovels and all their ancient maps, have yet to find it. And do you know why?
And why, Jimmy?
Because the time was not right. Only King Solomon, in all his wisdom, was able to realize that. And he lived happily ever after. The end.
Very nice. But Jim, darling, I don't think it was that way at all.
Of course it was. He buried the treasure.
You silly. It wasn't old King Solomon. It was the Queen of Sheba. And it wasn't treasure.
No.
Of course not. It was a star. Yes, it was a star the Queen grabbed out of the sky one Tuesday evening in October. She wanted it for her crown, so she took it.
And she buried a star? Truly, Della, that makes no sense.
No, she didn't bury it. Queens don't go and bury things. She tossed it into the sea, deep into the sea, so deep that the light of the star couldn't reach the surface, and that all the passing ships overhead would never suspect there was a star down there at all. Do you know why she did it?
No. Why?
Because she said the time was not right.
Of course.
When the time was right, the star would rise out of the sea and shoot back into the sky again. But not until the heavens were prepared of a star of such beauty. The end. Well,
this is a true story. Once upon a time, one Christmas, 3 wise kings traveled a great distance.
they were the Magi. Everyone knows that story, Jimmy.
I wonder. Now, these 3 kings, being wise kings, I can only assume that they brought wise gifts, to the babe in the manger.
But what if they weren't? They could have been foolish gifts, couldn't they? Absolutely foolish and...
We can only guess. That's my whole point. I always thought that the Magi brought the finest gifts imaginable.
Until tonight.
Right. It was not until this very night, Christmas Eve 1905, right here in this very flat, 2B, that I realized something about the gift of the Magi.
Me too. To think, it all started here, in 2B. Do you remember, Jimmy? Oh, I'll never forget. First day in old 2B. Is this it, Jimmy? Is this really it?
Della, where are you?
Up here. Is this really ours?
It's 2B, top of the stairs, the first left.
All ours. Truly ours.
For $8 a week it is.
Oh, Jim, darling. Our old furnished flat, our palace.
With all the modern conveniences. Hot and cold running water, you'll notice. The bathroom is just down the hall there, and there's an electric light in every room.
Tallest furniture.
It's not new, of course.
Our table. This will be where our dinner feast will be served.
But no less than 2 servants.
Of course. Oh, Jim, darling, it's wonderful. It really is.
And only 1 flight of stairs, too. The streetcar stop is at the corner, and the whole world is at our feet.
But $8 a week. Can we manage it?
You are speaking to Mr. James Dillingham Young, my dear, who happens to earn $25 a week. Isn't that why you married me?
Don't be silly, my boy. You are talking to Mrs. James Dillingham Young, and I married you because you're a genius to find such a perfect place.
Not perfect. I've checked it out carefully, you see. Our palace has got a few flaws.
Impossible.
That pipe there, for instance. Do you see it?
Where?
Right there. It rattles, pounds and spits and everything.
Loudly?
Only in the middle of the night, I'm sure. And this chair, it wobbles quite dramatically.
What will the servants think?
Oh, and be careful of that sofa, especially the left side.
Why?
Because it bites.
Honestly.
It does. It tried to bite me when I sat in it. One of the springs inside of that sofa does not like Mr. James Dillingham Young. Watch its bite, I tell you.
Just like that man downstairs. Better watch his bite too.
Who? The mystery man?
The one who stared at us through the transom when we came in.
That's him. He certainly looked like a mystery man to me.
He certainly looks strange. I bet he's right below us.
1B, that's our man. But he's nothing compared to the woman across the courtyard.
The lady who slammed her window shut when we went by?
I hear she's an honest-to-God witch.
Jim, stop it.
It's a true story. Every last Friday of the month, all the cats in the neighborhood gather outside of her window. It's some kind of a secret ceremony or something.
Honestly, Jim, married 2 weeks already and you still think I'm a child.
All right. Who is she?
Well, if you must know...
Yes, I must.
Well, she's actually the Queen of Sheba.
A queen? Ridiculous.
She's in disguise, of course. She dare not show her real beauty, or else she'll be discovered. It's a very sad story, really. She ran away from the land of Sheba because she refused to marry some prince of someplace or other. She was in love with another, you see. So one night, it was a Tuesday evening in February, she took only her finest jewels in a laundry basket and stole away.
And what about those cats outside the window?
Well, the cats know her secret. In fact, they are actually blackmailing the queen. So each month, she has to feed them royal scraps so they don't betray her.
I guess that makes sense, but she still looks more like a witch than the queen to me.
She's actually very beautiful. Queen of Sheba has to be.
Well, if the beautiful Queen of Sheba ever looks across the courtyard and sees your long, beautiful hair, it'll be a queen's envy, I tell you.
My hair? You do love my hair, don't you, Jim darling?
Of course I do. It's your greatest treasure.
Not any longer.
What?
You are my greatest treasure, silly.
And you are mine.
Listen! Did you hear that?
The pipes. Didn't I tell you?
No. Below us. You hear that? The mystery man?
Yes. It sounds as though he's moving something. Something heavy. A table, maybe, or a chest.
Chest. Oh, I know, Jim.
What do you know, Della?
Who the mystery man is, of course.
You do you?
And I know why he was staring at us. It was your gold watch.
My watch?
When we came in downstairs, he saw your watch.
Do you think so?
Here, let me see it again, Jim. Yes. This is it. This is what caught his eye. Oh, my, it is a beauty, Jim.
It sure is. It's been in my family for...
Your grandfather gave it to your father, who gave it to you, right?
Right.
It's the most handsomest watch I've ever seen.
I would bet that this watch would compare with some of the finest in the world.
And even the Queen of Sheba would be properly impressed with it.
But you think the mystery man saw it, do you?
I'm positive.
Do you think he intends to steal it?
No, kings never steal watches.
What king?
The mystery man! Anyone can tell immediately that he's a king.
In disguise, I suppose. He ran away from the land of Sheba with all of his jewels in a laundry basket because he couldn't marry the woman he loved.
Sort of. He's actually mighty King Solomon. And no one suspects. But he gave himself away with that watch. You saw your watch, and that look. I knew he was King Solomon. That sound we heard.
Yes.
That was his trunk of gold and silver and everything. King Solomon was so envious, he had to look through all of his treasures to see if he had anything to compare with it.
And did he?
Of course not. I'll be envious for days now.
But he didn't look too wise to me. And why would he choose to live here? Wouldn't he have been more comfortable over on Fifth?
How was her living over there?
You mean the witch?
The Queen of Sheba. He loves her desperately, you see. But she refused to marry him and ran away and hid. But King Solomon, being so wise, has found out where she lived and moved into one bee so he could keep his eye out on her.
How fantastical!
Oh, Jim, he loves her so much. You saw a sad face. Do you think they'll ever get together?
Oh, stand back!
What is it?
It's the Queen of Sheba. She's there, at the window.
What is she doing?
She's shaking out a mop.
Oh, she is a clever one, all right.
I think she saw it, though.
My hair?
Yes, your hair. Your beautiful, long hair. She'll be raging with jealousy now. She won't sleep for days.
Oh, Jim, darling. What a fascinating place you found us. Help her $8 a week.
One thing concerns me now, though.
What is that?
It's the last Friday of the month. Who's going to feed all those cats?
Please, God, don't let anyone take them. Let them stay here forever so that I can see them forever.
They are lovely, Della.
Lovely? They're the most beautiful set of combs in the world. Real tortoise shells, with all those jewels on the rim. They're too beautiful for words.
They would look wonderful in your hair. I think that every time we stop here to look at them. The finest combs in the world for the finest hair in the world.
Jim, won't you stop?
I'll stop. But you know it's true.
They're so expensive. Can't even think of it. Only a queen could afford such jewels. Which is where they came from, of course.
Did they? And just who?
As if you had to ask. Oh, Jimmy.
Not the Queen of Sheba again.
Who else? She wore them every third Sunday afternoon when she rode out in her chariot. The sun would shine down on their tortoise shells and reflect itself in its rich jewels, till the queen shone like a waterfall at sunset. It was a sight to see.
Why did she get rid of them then? Did she grow tired of them?
Those combs? Never. She must have had a very good reason, or else she would have never parted with them.
I know.
Oh, then tell me, please. They're so lovely.
It's very simple, really. When the queen fled the land of Sheba, she hid all of her jewels. She hid the combs deep at the bottom of her laundry basket, so she would always know exactly where they were. And then one day, she looked across the courtyard and saw someone with the most beautiful hair in the world. So beautiful, in fact, that the queen raged with envy and she swore she would never wear those combs again, not until her hair was as long and as beautiful as a woman's in 2B. So she sold them here to this shop. The end.
Such a sad story.
So here they are, waiting.
They'll probably wait forever. Oh, please, God, let them stay here forever.
I have a better story. It's the one about Mr. James Dillingham Young of 2B.
I like that story, especially the part about the watch.
Well, the story isn't about the watch. It's about James Dillingham Young, who earned $25 a week and had a bride and had pipes that made noises in the middle of the night.
And a mighty king and jealous queen living in the same building.
Exactly. And he couldn't afford a beautiful set of combs for his wife's beautiful long hair.
Yes, I know the story.
And one day, he learned that he would no longer be making $25 a week. He was told that he would now be making $30 a week because the company had big plans for him.
Jim?
And so he figured that $5 a week could someday buy jewels for a queen. So if he was extra careful and waited and saved...
Jim, is this true?
All my stories are true.
I mean about the $30.
Mr. Quint told me this afternoon. So look again at those combs, Della. Because someday the queen might look across the courtyard and get the surprise of her life.
You are a genius.
I figure that in a few months maybe,
$30? We're gonna be rich.
or in time for Christmas.
Oh, Jim.
Come on, Della. I have something else to show you.
What is it?
A little surprise, really. Not much.
Can't imagine.
All right, now cover your eyes, like this.
All right.
Just wait till old King Solomon sees this.
Can I look now?
Just a moment. Now,
What?
read it, silly.
Mr. and Mrs. James Dillingham Young. 2B.
I had it printed. It didn't cost much, really, but I figured that when you earn $30 a week, you ought to be able to let it show.
Oh, Jim, I love your story.
And they lived happily ever after.
God, don't let it happen. We can be wrong. For once, make Jim be wrong. Let him come home laughing, saying that it's all a mistake, that he imagined the whole thing. Della, it's all right, let him say. Mr. Quint has decided to keep me on hard times or not. And he would apologize for giving me such a scare and... Oh, it's all true. It's all terribly true. I can feel it.
Well, Mr. James Dillingham Young of 2B, what do you say now?
Oh, I hope I say the right things.
I'm a little late. Sorry.
That's all right.
Do you want to hear a story?
No, Jim. I mean, if you want.
It's a true story.
All right.
All my stories are true.
I know, dear.
They didn't fire me. That's the end of the story, really, but I'll start there.
They didn't?
No. Mr. Quint gave a long speech about profits and hard times and expenses and mortgages, but at the end of it all, he told me that I'm not fired.
Oh, Jim.
Do you want to hear another story?
Jim?
This one is also about profits and hard times and expenses and mortgages. And at the end of this one, I only earn $20 a week now.
$20?
Say it could have been worse. That's what Mr. Quint kept saying.
Oh, Jim. I love you. Nothing else can matter so much, can it?
$20 a week?
It's all right. We'll manage,
And with Christmas only a few weeks away.
We'll be together. We have each other. That's the important thing.
It's your turn to tell a story.
I was so scared that...
Me too. What do you think old King Solomon would have said?
Oh, that reminds me. I forgot almost all about it. I saw them, both of them.
King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, together.
Sort of. I was up on the roof to hang some laundry when there he was.
Mighty King Solomon?
Yes, but he wasn't very mighty. I think you're right, Jim. Doesn't look at all clever, at least up close. Anyways, I went up and there he was, sitting near the skylight. I think he'd been drinking.
No.
I was just minding my own business when he actually spoke to me.
The mystery man actually spoke to someone? Amazing.
Except it wasn't very nice.
What did he say?
Nothing at first. He just stared. You know the stare that he has. So I just ignored him and continued hanging up the sheets. But all that time, I felt him watching me. Then he said, "Nice hair you got there, girlie." And just like that, I didn't know what to say. So I sort of smiled. And then he said, "Know how to do that hair like that?" It's the most ridiculous thing to say, wasn't it, Jim? I didn't know what to think. He said, "I'd cut it off and said it was a real Jim."
He said that?
Yes. And then the most astonishing thing happened. Across the roof, near the water tank, she appeared.
She? Not.
The Queen of Sheba. She was up on the roof the whole time, and I didn't even see her. She must have heard what old King Solomon said, because she came up from behind the tank and told him to behave himself.
She did.
She actually scolded him. Get away from here and let respectful people get on with their work. Or something like that. I can hardly remember. Can you imagine her talking to King Solomon like that?
What did you do then?
Finish up the shirts as fast as I could. Shaking so. Didn't know whether to cry or burst out laughing. Then I came down here. Oh, Jim. Wish you would have been there. It's all so confusing.
Just imagine. King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba on the roof.
Jim, do you think she recognized him? As her old suitor, I mean.
He's probably changed quite a bit over the years.
Yes, I suppose. I wonder if they'll ever get together.
Hard to say.
It all seems so lonely.
Sure.
What are you thinking about, Jim?
$20 a week.
$76, $77, $78, $79, $80, $81, $82, $83, $84, $85, $86, $87. $1.87. 3.5 weeks of saving, and that's all I've got to spend? $1.87 for my Jim's present. And this, our first Christmas together. get for him with such little. See, at the 65 cents for the butcher, he'll just have to wait. And then we have the grocer's bill. We can just keep that another week. Oh, I wanted the most perfect gift for my Jim. Something fine and rare and sterling. Something deserving of the name James Dillingham Young. But $1.87? Unless I made a mistake in counting. Just check it one more time.
Oh, yes, Mr. Quinn, sir. I understand you, sir. Thank you. Two and a half hours left. And then what? What kind of present can I afford for Della with only $4? What kind of jewels can I buy for that price? Some treasure I'll be able to get Della on our first Christmas.
Well, Mrs. James Dillingham Young? Are you foolish carrying on?
You see, Mr. Quint, it's only a small advance this time. No. Mr. Quint, I have a business proposal for you, sir. Mr. Quint, seeing as it's Christmas and all, I was hoping that you would make an exception just this one time and... Some genius.
Madam Soffrini, hair goods of all kinds, 3rd floor. Please God, should it be closed? No. Oh.
Less than an hour left. $4 to buy the world with. Less than an hour left. What would a really smart guy do? A real solid. I bet he'd take these $4 and turn them into something wonderful, something... What a lousy story this will make.
Will you buy my hair? Oh. $20? Give it to me quick.
A very Merry Christmas to Mr. and Mrs. James Dillingham Young. To me. Ding dong da 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 da.
Jim? Oh, please, God, make him still love me. There you go, Jimmy. A gift deserving of the name James Dillingham Young.
Della?
Merry Christmas, darling.
Della, you've cut your hair?
Yes, I did. Please, Jim, don't look at me that way. I did it for you, really. I mean, I had my hair cut and sold because I couldn't have lived Christmas without giving you a present. I didn't know what else to do. I tried to save Jim, honestly I did, but it amounted to practically nothing. Nothing at all. So I sold my hair. It'll grow out again, I promise. I just had to do it, Jimmy. Besides, my hair grows fast, awfully fast, and before you know it...
You've cut your hair?
Yes, Jim, I did. I had to. Don't you still like me just as much as you used to? Do you still love me even without my long hair? I'm still me without it.
You say that your hair is gone?
You need to look for it. I sold what I tell you. Please, Jim, it's Christmas Eve. Don't be angry with me. Look at the wonderful gift I got for you. I know you'll love it. You'll see. Everything will be all right then. You'll open my Christmas present for you, and I'll put the chops on the stove, and we'll celebrate Christmas and live happily ever after. Please say something, Jim.
Of course I still love you, Della. Without your long hair, with your long hair, of course. It's just that you had me going there for a moment.
Jim?
It's a small joke, really. Here, open this, and then you'll get it too.
A present? For me? Oh, Jim, how did you find the money?
Go ahead. Open it.
You are a genius. This whole time, you had money set aside, and I didn't even know it. How you did it, I'll never know. I mean, you can't put off the butcher or save on the grocery bill. The combs! The Queen of Sheba's combs! My hair.
You'll see why I was a little stunned.
Beautiful, beautiful tortoiseshell combs.
With jewels on the rims. You'd better not let the old queen find out.
They're even lovelier in this shop window. Oh, and my hair. All gone.
Like you say, your hair grows really fast.
Oh, it does, Jim. I promise you it will.
If it never grows an inch, you'll still be my girl.
Oh, but we forgot all about your gift. Here, open it. I know you'll love it. I kept looking and looking, and finally there it was in the shop window on Broadway. The second I saw it, I knew it was the gift I'd been looking for. I said to myself, this is a gold chain worthy of the watch. Isn't it a dandy, Jim? You have to look at the times 100 times a day now. The chain is long enough so you can wear it like so, and you can see it all the time. Just think what old King Solomon's reaction is going to be. Give me your watch for a second, Jim. I want to see how it looks on the chain. Jim, give me your watch for a second. What's the matter, Jim?
Della, why don't we put away our gifts and you can put the chops on the stove. They're too wonderful to use just now.
But Jim...
I sold my watch to to make the money to buy your clothes.
Oh,
So why don't we put away our wonderful gifts and you can put the chops on the stove and we'll have a lovely dinner.
yes, I suppose. Oh, Jim, how foolish we've been.
No, not foolish at all. They were perfect gifts. Perhaps the most perfect gifts ever given at Christmas.
I know the perfect test for perfect gifts.
And so it happened. Mighty King Solomon, who was about as wise as any man had the right to be, did what seemed to be a very foolish thing. He hid away his greatest treasure.
And the Queen of Sheba took the star which she had grabbed from the heavens and tossed it deep into the sea until the heavens were prepared of a star of such beauty.
One more story. The Magi were 3 wise kings, so we can assume that they brought wise gifts to the babe in the manger on that first Christmas. But who is to say what is a foolish gift? For perhaps, in a way, we